Hi everyone, I'm Jules from Find the Gap Australia, and today I'd really like to talk to you about math anxiety. This is video 2 in our series of 6 videos. Today we're really going to drill down on negative self-talk and how math anxiety limit our beliefs about what we are able to do in mathematics and really therefore lead to us not achieving what we should because we actually believe we're not capable of that. First area that's really important is to talk about self-doubt. Now, when we have self-doubt and we don't believe that we can do something, it's like we've already written the outcome for ourselves. Why put ourselves out there and try? In a maths classroom, it can also have us sitting there thinking that we're inadequate. When you actually start to unpack this with them, they believe that everyone else, the other 24 people in the room, all understand perfectly well, and there's therefore something wrong with them. They personalize the lack of understanding as a problem with themselves. And this isn't because there's something wrong with them. It's just that there's some anxiety in their head telling them that it's all them. I think we've all had that experience where we've had a little bit of self-doubt and therefore we hold back because there's social consequence playing out. There's a lot of social things going on from maybe grade 5. And kids start to become really aware of what everyone else may or may not think about them. And they're building a whole story around what other people may or may not think about them. They start doing things to avoid at all cost looking stupid or thinking that they look stupid. Now, mathematics is mathematics. In order to get better, you need to embrace challenge and you need to push yourself and you need to have that intellectual risk-taking. And that's a phrase I'll use often because I think it doesn't get used enough and we actually need to put ourselves out there and take that risk. How we actually see this play out though sometimes is going back to this idea of mindset, and it's the maths anxiety generally that drives a fixed mindset. Students might go, I have abilities from here to here and therefore that's all I can do. It's all I'll ever do. I hear at home that mum and dad or mum wasn't very good at maths and therefore they couldn't do it and they hated it. So I'll think that too. That's not to throw parents under the bus, but a lot of what kids think and what they pick up on is how we feel about things. And I say that in the kindest way because I've spent years sitting with parents in parent-teacher interviews going, oh, I was never good at maths. Oh, I can't do maths. But your child's then picking up that maybe if you have those beliefs and you identify as being bad at maths, well, maybe they do too. So what this actually does, this fixed mindset, is it actually reinforces the self-doubt. So we get into this huge loop of, I only believe that I can do this to this. I'm going to doubt myself, do any more. And then I'm going to now loop back. I feel inadequate. I feel stupid. So therefore, I'm now only going to do this bit. I'm not going to even do the other bit anymore because that's too much of a jump because I've talked myself out of it. I think that you can see how this quickly spirals out of control for some students. And it's not anything maybe playing out other than they just feel anxious about maths. Now, I'm not saying that these kids suffer anxiety. I'm saying that the situation they are in is making them feel anxious. And that's a really key difference because they're using anxiety as a coping mechanism. It's not, I'm diagnosing your child with anxiety. They're two very different things because in maths, and we're talking math anxiety, it can be very situational and it can be very easy to overcome. All they need is some understanding, some encouragement, maybe do some digging around why they feel that way, and then we can start moving them forward. Maybe they have anxiety with pronumerals in algebra and maybe with fractions, but they absolutely fly when they play games in probability. And that's a clue as well. Maybe it's the level of formality in the maths that they're actually struggling with instead of their abilities. Ultimately, what these all lead to is that we start seeing avoidance behaviours. Now, they can be avoiding tasks, they can be avoiding class discussions, they can be the parent-teacher interviews that you sit with and the teacher goes, they don't ask for help. They can be the parent complaints that you put forward going, you're not helping my child. there's all of these things that are playing out, and it's all coming back to avoidance because there's something else going on. Now, when I started doing these videos, I was like, oh, it's all about gaps in their learning and their understanding. It's all knowledge. And then I really started thinking about how I taught for the last decade and went, oh, it's got nothing to do with the numbers. It's all this other stuff that's playing out for them and in the situation around them that's leading to the issues with the numbers. So the avoidance can be just the withdrawal, or it can actually be outward behaviors. They may be talkative, they may be disruptive. The avoidance can be at different levels depending on how far they're going to escalate. And it's always something to sit back at and go, oh, what's going on here for you right now that's leading you to demonstrate these behaviors? Is it anxiety? Is it too much pressure? Are we asking you to jump too far from your comfort zone? Are you giving feedback? What's going on? So I'm hoping that through these videos, you can start seeing this is something, firstly, I'm really passionate about and supporting students through, and children at home, it's no different. But actually starting to engage with them and going, okay, what's going on for you right now in this moment with this task? 90% of the time, I would argue it has nothing to do with the task. It's all about how we're thinking about the task, how we're thinking about ourselves, how we feel about ourselves, you know, the physiological stuff going on as well. So thank you for joining me today. I hope you've got something from this. Please, if you have friends and family who have got problems or they've got concerns, share these videos with them. It doesn't hurt to sit and listen to me for 10 minutes, ramble on about things that may or may not be helpful. I'm giving you things to think about how to support your children the best you can as parents who love them and want the best for them. So thank you again for joining me today. Have a great day, and I will see you for the next video soon.